Alright guys, welcome to another video on the channel today. Welcome to part 3, episode 3 of what has been a series that we've been doing on winning with PPC. And if you really want to be able to optimize your PPC campaigns to make sure that they grow to be incredibly profitable and incredibly lean, make sure you watch till the end of the video, because today I'm going to be running you through my weekly optimization process, how you can implement it in your business and your PPC campaigns and grow some six-figure campaigns. If you want to build a business on Amazon that's going to free you up to live the life you dreamed of, make sure you do subscribe, hit that notification bell, because going into 2019, man, we're going to be dropping new videos all the time with value after value after value, how to build a great business on Amazon, grow it beyond your wildest dreams, and truly have that freedom you dream of. All right, let's get into this final part of this PP series. Let's go. Alright guys, so welcome back to the PPC series. I really hope you've enjoyed parts 1 and 2. If you haven't watched them yet, make sure you do watch them. I'll put episode 1 up here above my head and you can just go and watch them in order, episode 1 and episode 2, before you watch this one. A little forewarning that what we talk about today in this episode probably won't make a shred of sense unless you have watched and digested the other 2 videos. So this is more in-depth than just your basic training. If you are just starting out, this could be a little bit confusing, so do take your time over episodes 1 and 2. And this is really like an overview series of pay-per-click advertising on Amazon. Pay-per-click advertising on Amazon is so important because it helps us to rank, it helps us to launch our products, and it really should ultimately help us to also be profitable. So I want to show you in this episode how we optimize our campaigns. Once we've let's have a little bit of a recap. Once we've done the basics and understood what is PPC, what are the different match types, what are the different targeting abilities, what are the keywords, what are search terms, all that kind of stuff is in episode 1. But once we've discovered that and really understood that, we go on to setting up the structure of our PPC campaigns in episode 2. And I wanted to show you something really quickly, just a live update from one of my PPC campaigns right now, just to show you the power of this structure. Alright, so we're here in my Seller Central account, and this is live update as of today, and this is for one of our campaigns. I love this new feature, by the way. In 2019 I'm going to do another updated episode about some of the new features that Amazon's released onto PPC, and just review them, just doing some testing with different aspects of it right now, so that will come soon. But I do love this idea of portfolios. This is one of our portfolios for one of our products, and this is the data from the last 7 days. Now, a little forewarning, it is quarter 4 is Christmas, so people are shopping with a lot more intent. Your ACOS generally is going to be a bit lower over Christmas. I've found that in our business anyway, because people are shopping with, like I say, more intent, more likely to purchase, so it does bring your ACOS down a little bit. So these aren't necessarily normal and typical numbers. These are lower than they usually are for us, but just to show you the power of this, because we have optimized this campaign. Certainly not the highest spend, £40 a day across the product. It's not the highest, craziest spend, but it's just something that really does show you the power of this. That we've got here is our base level campaign that we talked about in episode 2, which is our discovery campaign. And then we've got our testing campaign, which is the next level one here. As you can see here, I've got them labeled to basically which campaign they are, and then your winning campaign at the top here. But what's great about this is, as you can see, we're spending the most amount on the winning campaign, and obviously the ACOS is the highest because we are bidding the highest amount. And that's what I wanted to show you guys, like I talked about last time, is that we might have say for instance, if this was a yoga mat, it's not, but if it was a yoga mat, that we might have the search term, the keyword yoga mat in here. We might be bidding £2 for instance here, but £1.50 here and £1 here. I wouldn't tend to bid that high on most things, but just as an example to make it easy. And so when this budget runs out and I'm bidding £2, then it can start showing for this campaign, or this ad group, sorry, here. And then when this the budget on this ad group runs out, which in Q4 this is happening, quite quickly, then on this campaign it'll actually show for a cheaper amount, and that's what helps us to get these lower ACOS. You see how the lowest ACOS is the auto campaign. It won't always be this way. On a lifetime view, this isn't the case for this product, but just in the last recent times, as we've really optimized it, The lowest ACOS is for the auto campaign, that base level campaign. Next up is that next level on the structure that we talked about. And then the highest there, because we're bidding the highest for those different keywords, is the winning campaign. But obviously super healthy ACOS there. Let me update it for you and show a year-to-date view. So this is this year on this product, and it is, you know, the ACOS is a little bit higher. And down here, the structure, you know, like I say, the automatic, your discovery campaign won't always be the lowest ACOS. See, over lifetime, it's a little bit higher because, you know, when we were starting out, your discovery campaign is going to churn up a lot of non-converting, irrelevant search terms and keywords. So it is going to utilize a lot of that budget early on, but over time, that will gradually get more into the structure that we talked about. So that's just to show you a live example, one of our products, one of our campaigns that's been structured in the way we talked about in the last episode, and more importantly has been optimized in the way we're going to talk about today. So let's get into that. All right, let's get into the meat of episode 3 then, all about optimization, spelt with an S, because everyone knows that's the correct way to spell it. And what we're going to look at is our 4 weekly objectives. Now, you don't, of course, have to do this weekly. You can do it bi-weekly, you can do it monthly, whatever works for you. If you're still, you know, if you're working a full-time job, if you're super busy, you don't have to do it each and every week because it does take some time. One of the things I will say is if you want to reduce the amount of time you spend on this, you can actually get a piece of software called PPC Scope. PPC Scope. I'm not an affiliate for them. I'm not, you know, I don't get anything for promoting them. It just really is a fantastic bit of software that does automate this whole process for you. I now manage PPC over a wide range of products over multiple accounts in, you know, literally half an hour to maximum an hour every week, and you know, managing tens of thousands of spend on PPC campaigns every year. And this software really does help me. It does work out, I think ranging starts at about £30 a month, so it's not the cheapest, but once you start to build up multiple ad groups and campaigns, it really does begin to get helpful. I'm going to show you how to do it without the software in this video today, so you can get started for free, but it does will help you save some time in the future. And what we're all about on this channel is redeeming some of the time. You know, you can get more money, you can make more money, but you can't ever get the time back. So I'm all about things that help me to save time and you know, really have that freedom in my life. So so yeah, let's look at these 4 weekly objectives that we're going to be going through in today's video that will help you optimize these PPC campaigns and help you to be profitable. All right, the first thing we need to do every single week is to remove non-converting and search terms, remove low potential search terms, decrease high ACOS keywords, and then to increase low ACOS keywords. And so we're going to get into each of these step by step right now, so we understand what they are. But the first thing to notice is the first 2 are related to search terms and the second 2 are related to keywords. Now, if you remember from the previous video, search terms is what the customer is actually searching for. So for instance, best yoga mat, whereas a keyword is what we are actually saying to Amazon we want to show for instance, yoga mat. So we haven't maybe put best yoga mat, but because we put yoga mat in our campaign, then they are actually, when they search for best yoga mat, our ads might show based on certain conditions. And so what the customer is searching is the search term, so we don't have any control over that, whereas the keyword is what we do have control over. So our approach with each of these different things is different, and I'm going to go through those now. All right. The first one is we need to remove non-converting search terms. So whether you do this each week or each month or however often you do it, the first thing you need to do is to remove these. Why do we remove these? It's to reduce our spend on search terms that won't convert. For instance, if you're selling a yoga mat and someone is typing yoga block or yoga outfit, I don't know, I don't do yoga, but you know, yoga music, whatever it is, if it's not relevant to your product or it's not converting in some way, we want to reduce spend on search terms that won't convert. And how do we know when this is taking place? When there are 0 sales and our clicks, the amount of clicks that our advertisement has had based on from this search term is greater than the conversion rate. Let me explain this for a moment because it'll be applicable to a couple of these. What that means is some people will say is, When someone has clicked on your ad after searching the same search term 5 or more times and not bought your product, then you should get rid of this search term because it's not converting. Here's the thing with that is that assumes that your product is converting at least 20% of the time, which what that means is that for every 5 people that visit your product listing page, 1 person is going to buy. That's a 20% conversion rate. Now, the problem with that is that when we're starting out, when we're launching campaigns and launching products, we often won't have a 20% conversion rate because we may not have enough reviews. We may still be testing elements of our photos, of our description, etc. So what you need to do in order to do this well, and which is why I would suggest maybe leaving it your campaigns to run for 2, 3, 4 weeks, as long as you can really bear without starting to do this, is so you've got some good data for it. What I would encourage you to do is find out what is the conversion rate of your product, which you can go into under reports in your Amazon account. In fact, let me show you right now. So in your Amazon account, you just need to come to reports and business reports, and then to detailed page sales and traffic by child item. Then the figure you're looking for here is your unit session percentage. This column here that shows you a percentage. This is based on how many sessions have taken place on your product listing. So that's not the page views, because page views is just how many times it's been loaded. But your sessions is each individual unique person coming to visit your product. And so we want how many units have been ordered against how many sessions have taken place on your listing, and that provides us with our conversion rate. So you can see they vary widely from product to product, but you need to figure out what is your conversion rate over a period of time, and then that will define how we analyze this data here. So once we have this conversion rate, we know how many clicks we need. If your conversion rate is 10%, we know that we need to filter this by 10 clicks or more, because that would provide us with enough data to show that our product has been clicked enough, we've tested it enough, and it's not converting within the percentages that we want. I would, for me, with my products, I always go, I'm always a little bit generous. I'm not too savage with my search terms and cutting them off because, I want to try and give it time. There may be other factors other than just a simple search term. So, for instance, if my conversion rate is 10%, I'll usually give it 13, 14, 15 clicks without converting before getting rid of it, just to push it beyond that sort of conversion rate by a bit more. So that's when I do it, and I'll show you in a moment how to actually get into your report and to be able to decide on when you see search terms like this and how to get rid of them. So here we go. What we then do is add that search term as a negative exact at ad group level. So again, let me take you into the Amazon account and just to show you exactly how to do this. So you want to come to reports and then advertising reports, and you want to go to sponsored products and search terms, and then choose your report period. I would try and do the last sort of 60 days, depending on how long you've been running your campaign, but just however long you can, hit apply and create report. And thankfully Amazon recently updated this so that they do it as an XLS form, Excel file format. It used to be in a .txt file and you have to convert it and all that kind of rubbish stuff. So this is super easy. It generates it, just takes a couple of seconds. There you go, bam, it's done. And then you download it, and then you can load it up, and we can begin to analyze this stuff. Alright, so if you're an Excel user, I don't use anything else, so I'm not sure how it will work in other programs, but I'm sure there's other similar functions. But you want to hit this top row here, and you want to hit the filtering system so that you can actually filter some of these things out. And so this gives you the ability to be able to define what data you want to see. So the first one we're looking at is the non-converting search terms. So with your non-converting search terms, you want to go for total sales, you want to go to 0 and only highlight that. And then you also want to go to clicks over here, and you want to make sure that it is greater than, for instance, I would say 13 in here. All right, and that's brought up a few here for me that I can begin to have a look at on my campaigns. All right, so that is how you find and filter for this first one, is by choosing 0 sales and the amount of clicks that you determine by this data. All right, and then how you actually add the search term as a negative keyword is you go into the ad group, not the campaign, but the ad group, and you go to negative targeting. and then you want to add negative keywords. Add the keyword, add the search term exactly as it has been searched into here. I know that is a little bit confusing with keywords and search terms, but you're taking what a customer has searched and adding it in to something you can control as a negative keyword. Remember, keywords are where we have control, and so you're adding it in there. So do that with these search terms that are unprofitable, and then they will stop showing and you'll stop spending for this. Again, PPC Scope software can automate all this for you. Just click a button and it does all this for you. But if you want to do it manually, here's how to do it as well. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, number 2 is we want to remove low potential search terms. Why is we want to reduce spend on search terms that aren't relevant to your product. And how do we know this? When does this happen? When we see high impressions and low click-through rate. Let's take a look at our report again and see how do we filter for this. So for this one, you want to come into here where it says impressions, and you want to filter that down to above 1,000 impressions or 500, however whatever figure you feel comfortable at after a bit of testing. And then you want to come here to click-through rate, and you want to filter that to less than 0.2%, maybe even 0.15% if you're feeling particularly savage. Those are the ads that have been shown 1,000 times but have been clicked on less than 0.2% of the time, which is at quite a low click-through rate, and does show that there is a lack of relevance about your product or your ad. There is a problem somewhere. So that is how to find those low click-through rate search terms, and then you go through the same process again about adding it as a negative keyword at ad group level. So remember, with search terms, what we're doing with each of these different optimization steps is we're negative exacting the search term so it doesn't show anymore, whereas the approach with keywords is different, which we'll take a look at now. The third thing that we want to do whenever we're optimizing is we want to decrease keyword bids on our high ACOS keywords. So for each keyword we have a bid that we are applying that we want to show for, and what we want to do is we want to see when there's a high ACOS on different keywords, we want to make sure we can decrease the bids in order to try and make it profitable. So why do we do it? Reduce spend on unprofitable keywords firstly when we have 0 sales and our clicks again is greater than our conversion rate level. So remember, if your conversion rate is 10%, if your clicks are 10 or more, then we want to look at this, or our ACOS is above a certain range. And it's not all really, it's both of these. You want to do both. Really, this is a multiple step. So you want to start with those products those keywords that you've got 0 sales for. You want to look at those, and you really want to reduce those. Either be really aggressive and reduce the bid down to 15p, 20p, something like that, or maybe reduce them by 40% under your cost per click. And then with your ACOS levels, you want to do it in a certain range. So let's take a quick look at firstly how to actually see the performance, the bid performance of those keywords. It's a little bit different than your search term report because that was for search terms. Now we're looking at keywords, but let's take a look. All right, again, so you'll want to come into your ad group level, come over to targeting, and you'll be able to see all of the keywords that you are utilizing right now. You want to change these columns a bit so that you can see some other factors. You want to have clicks, cost per click, and then we can hit apply. Those are the things that are going to help you with this. And so for this first one where we're looking at, initially 0 sales, so we sort by sales, and we can see what has had 0 sales and then begin to cut them out from that. Or we want to look at a certain ACOS range. Again, we can sort by ACOS and we can determine what levels are profitable for us. So what I would recommend is anything 50% or over in terms of ACOS. I would be quite drastic with that, and I would reduce the bid that you're bidding to 40% less than your current cost per click. So this is how I would structure it for my optimization. Say for instance we're bidding, there's a couple here that I might need to optimize, some new keywords that we put in here. Right, so here's one, it's not over 50%, but give you as an example, here's one at 40%. So what I'll do is I'll put them up on screen what I would use right now. The process we want to go through when decreasing our bids is either number one, with 0 sale keywords that just aren't converting, we want to reduce them right down to 20p, 15p, something like that, or 40% less than your cost per click. 50% ACOS or higher, you want to reduce it by 40% of the cost per click. 30% to 50%, you want to reduce it by 20% of the cost per click, and then 20% ACOS to 30% ACOS, you want to reduce it by 10%. Now, this is obviously assuming that around 20% is where you want to be profitable with your PPC campaigns. You can adjust this based on your break-even point. If your your profit margin on a product is 50%, then you can obviously be a lot more aggressive with this. But it's just something that you can play around with. And so then anything that's 20% to 30% ACOS, I would tend to reduce it by 10% of the cost per click. And that's not making sense. Let me try and explain it for you. Your bid amount here is what you're currently bidding. Your cost per click is what you're actually paying on average across all of these clicks. And so what you want to do with your bidding is actually based on these layers, is you want to actually change your bid to a percentage value of the cost per click. Say for instance you've got a keyword that is performing at 50% or higher ACOS. You want to find this cost per click, say for instance here £1.07, and you want to take 40% off of that and then set your bid as that amount. For instance here we've got a 40% ACOS with this new keyword that we're trying out here, and so if that keeps performing at that level, what I will do when optimizing is I will actually take that the cost per click here and I will take 20% off, and then I will change my bid to that. Looks like I may have already done that straight away already. So that's the adjustment I would make there. And then say we've got an ACOS here of 24%. What I might do if that doesn't come down is I will look at this 86p cost per click. Because that's in my 20 to 30% ACOS range, I will take 10% off this cost per click amount and change my bid to 10% lower. And you literally can just put it in here, change it and hit save, and that will do it for you. I do this through the software, so I won't do it right now because it might mess up my system. But that is how you actually adjust the bid based on your cost per click levels and based on the different ACOS range. And you see here for this one, this is a nice and juicy 12% ACOS, and so my cost per click here is 86p. So you can see I've already optimized this one, which we'll talk about in a moment. I've actually increased the bid so that I can keep showing for that keyword more. So it all does depend. It's really data driven, and it really does take some time just to understand all of this. But based on your ACOS level, you adjust your bid level at a percentage basis of your cost per click level. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit confusing at first, but like I say, the software does make it easier, but this does kind of explain it for you. All right, and finally, number 4, I should say point 4, but point 4, we want to increase our keyword bids on our low ACOS keywords. Why? Because we want to increase spend on profitable keywords. If we're being profitable on them, we want to be showing for them more on Amazon. We want to be spending more, being more visible for these keywords, because we know they convert and we know they're profitable. When do we do this? When our ACOS is below break even or a certain range. You might determine that you're trying to be profitable with a campaign. So you might say, I'm going to increase bids only when my ACOS comes below a level that is profitable for me. Some people might say when it gets below break even, then I'm going to increase the bid because my only goal is to be break even for ranking purposes. So depending on your purposes and your objectives with the campaign determines this percentage. But for example's sake, let's say 20%. When your ACOS on a keyword becomes below 20%, then what you do is you increase your bids to 10% above your cost per click. Remember before I showed you, you've got your cost per click and you've got your bid amount. You take the cost per click, for instance, £1, and if your current bid is 80p, then you actually can increase that to £1.10, 10% higher than your cost per click, in order to increase the amount of times you're showing for that keyword. And then some people might freak out and think, yeah, but if I do that, I'm going to become unprofitable for it. Maybe you might creep towards being unprofitable, but then you just bring it down again. That's the beauty of the system, is that you're always analyzing, you're always filtering, and you can always adjust things as you go. And what you'll find, guys, with this is that over time, as you continually iterate with this process, that your PPC iteration will become easier and easier with time. It will take you less and less time each week because you're just tweaking little bits here and there, and then you're just adding a whole load of new keywords into your testing campaign whenever you can. Do some keyword research, add some more into the system, and funnel some more through. And so then over time, what your aim is to have this winning campaign that is super optimized, that is super targeted. You can just keep pumping a whole load of budget into, and make sure that your advertising is profitable. So again, guys, a lot of information to take in on this video. It is really just an overview, though. I do go into a lot more detail, show the setting up of a campaign, and really take some more time to go over these things to make sure it's fully understood in the Amazon Masters, which is my training program, which is below, link in the description for it below. It's something that I've poured literally hundreds of hours into creating, trying to create the most in-depth training for people selling on Amazon UK and Europe, and then expanding into the USA. I really hope it does help for you. It's discounted at the moment, 50% off for a short time only, just to as it's a new program, just to help people get on board and see the value in it. But check it out below. Any questions, please let me know. If I haven't explained something, or something doesn't make sense, or you see a glaring error, please leave a comment in the comments below. I'd love to engage in the comments and help you out any more I can. If you really are looking to grow your business and grow to a 6-figure, 7-figure business selling on Amazon, make sure you do hit subscribe button and hit that notification bell. You can subscribe by hitting my face just below right now, and that will really help you follow along on the journey, see when new content's coming out. I'm really hoping to help as many people in 2019 go to the next level with their business. So make sure you're subscribed, and look forward to a more helpful content in 2019. All right, I will see you guys soon. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. See you soon.